Welcome to Combat Theory Presents, a bi-weekly podcast about all things martial arts, fight science, and combat sports. Your host is Paul, the evil Professor Antonelli, and our newest episode starts right now.
What's up, Rich? How are you doing, brother?
Doing well. How are you, Paul?
I am good. We are Season 3, Episode 3 of the Combat Theory Presents podcast. And we are doing a special episode today about pet peeves. So, I guess I should admit, now that I'm stuttering a little bit, that first off, I had to look up what the definition of a pet peeve was, just because I wanted to make sure that I knew, for sure what I was talking about.
Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah, and it turns out that a pet peeve is something that a particular person finds especially annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say that we had a disagreement, but this was kind of your idea for an episode.
Right.
And I thought that it would be kind of, I just thought it'd be, I don't know, not enjoyable, I guess is kind of what I was thinking of.
Sure.
And we settled this. And do you want to tell people what we used to settle this?
Yeah, we've been playing with it as people do in this growing age of technology. So we just use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And
AI told us this would be a good episode.
Yeah.
So here we are. And this is what AI said. AI told us that sharing our pet peeves would first reduce our stress levels, which sounded remarkable to me. I was like, I'm about it already.
Yeah.
It would help us to problem solve some solutions for these things.
For sure.
It would form good social connections. So hopefully people that are listening
can relate.
They'll feel connected to us, I guess. It promotes emotional awareness, which is not necessarily something that we do a very good job of in our sport, I guess. And it will provide valuable insights into human behavior and cognitive process, whatever that means. Now, I think this is important, though. AI did warn us that we had to strike a balance. That's their words. So if we don't sound like we're just dwelling on the negative.
Yeah.
Which I think is which is maybe what my concern was, is I just didn't want to have
what I like about pet peeves is it's a mild way of talking about gossip.
Okay. This is male gossip.
This is gossip, but it's not just gossip. It's some of this stuff is just fact. Don't do this. This is bad behavior.
Yeah.
Other things too, it's opinion. Some of it.
Okay.
Some of it's just no, I'm not going to change that.
Yeah. If you hear something that we say and you think you don't agree,
yeah,
that's fine. We're right, but
yeah,
that's fine that you don't agree.
Never been wrong.
Yeah. Please, when you're listening along, if you're watching on YouTube or something, you can comment in your own pet peeves or if we're right or we're wrong. We reached out to our community on the internet and we asked people about what their pet peeves were. So we have some of that as well. And I'm not even necessarily saying that I'm going to agree with those things. I'm just going to tell you what other people's pet peeves are, because that is the unique thing about pet peeves. It is especially annoying to you, not necessarily everyone else.
But again, we are right.
But yeah, I'm right if I say it. So of course, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Yeah, we didn't tell each other.
Oh yeah, okay. That's another caveat.
So Paul's got his list. I've got mine. Mine comes from my Instagram followers, and a lot of these are probably just me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a majority, 70 to 80% is me.
I would say that most of mine are actually from other people, but I share the ones that I definitely highlighted are ones that I shared.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead. Yeah.
So I'll just start.
Yeah.
And we can just bounce and we'll try to make it move smoothly. So the first one I had was Muay Thai gyms that don't teach clinch.
Okay. That's not a Muay Thai gym. That's a kickboxing gym.
Right. But they'll maybe market it as a Muay Thai. Yeah.
This is actually, I think, the thing that is unfair on both sides of that, because I think a lot of kickboxing gyms, because Muay Thai is more of a buzzword.
Yeah.
And when you think about kickboxing, a lot of people think about just cardio kickboxing.
Sure.
So I've been to gyms that really are not Muay Thai gyms at all. They are kickboxing, whether that's American kickboxing or even just very modern K1 kind of, Dutch style kickboxing, where
I know
they say Muay Thai.
I know a common complaint about the Bang Muay Thai system is it preaches its striking system is super diverse, but I haven't seen a lot of clinching come out of there. And that's what I know a lot of my friends who like switch to those gyms and they practice unless the coach teaching that system
Teaches both, yeah.
incorporates their knowledge on the clinch. If they're just incorporating that Muay Thai system that doesn't teach clinch necessarily.
We did, I guess in our previous episode where we talked about like rule set, because even when I think about the Bang Muay Thai system, I think of it as being very Dutch style, really good, really good hands, a lot of low kicks,
changing levels with the
yeah. I don't really think of it as Muay Thai, but again, Muay Thai is a marketing word that people use, because I've been in hundreds of gyms that are, or maybe I haven't been in hundreds of gyms, but I've been to a lot of gyms that say Muay Thai, but they're really,
it's like kickboxing.
Yeah, it's kickboxing, and it's funny too, because a lot of times guys sign up for our tournaments and like that, we have that whole conversation where it's like, are you fighting international rules? Or are you fighting Muay Thai? And they're like, no, I'm fighting Muay Thai. And then when the conversation of clinch comes up, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to clinch.
Yeah.
Well, then you want to fight international rules. You want to fight kickboxing. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I love kickboxing.
Yeah, I get that was a solid one.
That's a good one, right?
I didn't have that on my list. I'm gonna you get one checkpoint. You get a gold star for that one.
Are we judging by diversity?
Yeah, quality of, if you say stuff that I think.
I got a couple good ones.
Okay.
I got some hot topics.
I'm gonna go on the other side of that, and I'm gonna give you the one that the most amount of people said to me, and probably the number one complaint I hear, and I bet it's on your list probably, is poor hygiene.
Yeah,
100%, right?
1000%.
First off, I have to shout out MMA on the Rocks, because he was the first one to reply to me, and he literally put like stinky people.
Yeah.
And other people tried to claim it. I'd be like, oh, someone already said it. And another guy told me that he got a staph infection, almost died. So he feels like he should own. And we have known, I've known a lot of people that got sick.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
From poor hygiene, and maybe didn't even know.
Yeah. Right?
Didn't realize that that's what it was.
Yeah. The gyms typically will have a rule set, and it's pretty basic across the board. But I think a lot of the guys who are like just really dirty, that's just like a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because really, there's ways you can look at it. There's a couple articles I've read where it talks about staph infections and how you get them and stuff. And what I thought was really interesting, what it always came down to, is the person getting clean. How quickly are you getting clean after practice?
After you train.
And also, how clean were you when you got on the mats?
Two thoughts I have on this immediately. First off is that hygiene is taught at home, which is that's a real pain in the ass if you think about it.
For sure.
Because that means that like if you come from a home that maybe doesn't have the best hygiene, and I'm certainly not trying to be mean here, but you're going to pass that on.
Oh yeah.
And no one in school like teaches you, like, at best they teach you hand washing.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I went to college, they taught something called aseptic technique, which is basically like how to wash your hands for medical purposes.
Okay, yeah.
Not how to shower for medical purposes, right? How to wash your hands. And they would do this kind of like this lab thing where they would put this gel on your hands that had these little like microparticles, and then you would go and wash your hands like to the best of your ability, and then you'd put your hand under a black light, and if you had, always inevitably you put your hand in the black light, you still had like all this stuff on your hands that you hadn't properly washed off, so then you'd have to go back and do it again.
That's like with a lot of scraping and
stuff
like that.
I mean, and if you watch like a doctor, a nurse like wash their hands before like a surgical procedure, that's a very intense process.
Right. But yeah, the hygiene, man, that's a lot of like not just people saying stinky, right? Like clipping fingernails, clipping toenails,
washing your clothes, your gloves,
hand wraps, wash your hand wraps.
I did a whole video on this, and I think it's a great video. I put it on my YouTube channel. Nobody watched it, and I was like,
not yet.
Wow, dude. But like seriously, like I will have a pair of boxing gloves that last me a very long time, and one of the reasons that they last me so long is that like I clean them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I put my gloves on, my hands are clean when they go in them. And my wraps are clean before I put them in my gloves.
Yeah. That goes into my next pet peeve.
All right, go ahead.
This is for the students out there. And I understand the struggle of like getting new gear. But if you're on the mats with your gear disintegrating, with each punch, with each kick, and there's just like fuzz
just
going
pieces-
everywhere. And
Pieces of like vinyl on the floor.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And then they're not even going to clean it up. They're just like, great class, coach.
Thanks so much.
And they
Loved
walk
it.
off,
Loved it.
yeah.
And then you're mopping. Like, where's all this black
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
coming from? I think that is one of the things about gear, though, right? Is because there is a cost of training,
Yeah,
and I think a lot of times people they don't see that, and also there is something nice about like looking at like your gloves or your shin guards or whatever, and seeing that you've put in that work. Like they have aged over
Yeah.
time, right? But at some point those need to be retired.
sure.
Solid. You want to go for another one, or you want me to go for one there?
Go for one.
Okay.
I hit you with a quick one. You hit me with one.
The why question or the what question. Like, what if they do this?
Oh,
what if
yeah.
they do that?
Okay.
What
yeah.
if?
I mean, valid question, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And as a coach, I love your enthusiasm to learn, but you have to trust that I'm preparing you
Mhm.
for the next step, which will lead into your what if eventually. And if not, then you can start like pressing that notion.
I think this is the problem with the what if. Just so we're on the same page, I want
Yeah.
to explain to you the what if question if you're listening at home. So I show you a technique, and I'm like, okay, guys, this is the technique. This is what they're going to do. This is what you're going to do. All right, let's run it. And someone goes, yeah, but what if they do
Yeah.
this?
Kick the leg.
Yeah, what if they do this? What if they do that? What if they do this? So, I mean, there is no ultimate technique, right? There's no one thing that you're going to do that stops everything else, right? So it's like those what ifs, I mean, you can get lost in that for days. I
Yeah.
mean, like literally, like,
That's the sport.
this is the nature of the game, right? This is the what ifs are actually figured out in fighting.
Yeah.
Oh, he did this. Okay, I got to do something else. And that's typically one of those things that's like newer students especially are constantly asking like what if.
Yeah.
And I'll give you if you're like going around to everybody and you're like adjusting one thing and you're having a problem and they say, hey, he's doing this, like how do I? Okay, cool, I'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give me like the hey guys, we're gonna go for a double leg, and you're like, well, what if he doesn't have legs? Like, then you're not gonna go for a double leg.
Yeah.
Like, please don't like ask these questions, man.
Yeah. The what if question again, like as a coach, I usually just nip it in the butt if someone's like, oh, what if? I'm like, yep, we're gonna get there. Do this first.
Yeah.
Like, boom, just trust that like we're gonna get through it.
Go. What do you got?
Coaches who talk too much, I respect it because I am definitely one of those coaches. But,
Oh no. Okay.
but you have to understand it's what's the coach talking about? Do you find it important?
Yeah.
Are you actually going to listen and apply it? But there are those coaches who I think like ramble on. And again, I've been in this instance before. I do like the sound of my own voice in certain aspects. Not the way you guys hear it, but how I hear it. but you go on about the technique or you start talking about a story and then
you get
now-
excited about it.
Yeah, and then it's like the story wasn't necessary. I get that. You didn't have to go on about your buddy who fought in 98
Yeah.
who, won by a bulldog choke. Like, you don't have to go off into a tangent that's unnecessary.
I think that there's a couple of places that this happens. One, new coach, like student transitioning to a coach,
Mhm.
he is so excited about the material that he wants to tell you everything. So whenever I have a younger coach that is transitioning, and like I'll always be like, can you do this in the fewest amount of words?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is the least amount of things you have to say to get the class started? But some of that is also ego, I think, where it's like they just want to hear themselves
Oh, yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not going to name drop anybody, but I can think of a person I know that we would joke because they would substitute teach. Basically, they'd fill in when we didn't have somebody.
Sure.
And if a class was an hour long, there was a chance that they would talk for 35 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would just be like, hey man, tell this guy to stop talking. We gotta train,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one, dude. I taught for a while in Colombia, and I don't speak Spanish.
Mm,
And
that's fun.
one of the most valuable things for me was figuring out that whatever I said would then have to be translated into another language. So if I said 5 words, that other person was going to have to say 5 words. So basically, my description was twice as long.
Yeah,
So how few of words could I say to make this work?
sure.
And in martial arts, typically, most things you should be able to describe without a whole lot of words.
Yeah, I mean, just recently we had the Sanchez seminar here, and it was so cool to watch how good he can teach everyone in this room. Barely know any English,
Yeah.
right? Like almost none at all, right? He knows the word body, pretty much. So it's really kind of remarkable how much you can learn just from
Movement.
showing the movement,
Yeah, movement.
right? But yeah, it definitely helps. Again, there's certain things like strategy and purpose, and if you got a student who asks a question, you want to answer it, you should probably find the way to use the quickest terms.
Yeah. And also, there's nothing wrong with getting class started. Hey, if you're teaching 25 people, somebody has a question,
Yeah.
get the class started and then go say, hey, I'm going to come to your group and we're going to whatever,
Yeah.
but like, let's get everybody started.
For sure.
That one is a big one. Was that you or me?
That was me.
All
So
right.
Balls in your
I'm
court.
going to give you a really, really simple one. The student that is 15 minutes late every single time.
Oh, yeah, that's on my shit too.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with that. A lot of this comes down to, like, if we're talking about, like, solutions, if we're really, like, thinking about problem solving, I think a lot of this comes down to, like, the coach or the head of the table, who's ever in charge of the gym you're at. So there's different ways that I approach it with a late student, right?
Sure.
If you're late and you're uncommonly late, okay, get to the class, hustle, get on the mats. Sorry, coach, I'm late. Get into whatever drill we're working as fast as possible. What drives me nuts is the no hustle students.
Oh, yeah. They roll in 15 minutes late.
They
It takes
start
another
wrapping
10
their
minutes.
hands.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you're wrapping your hands in the car on your way here, I'll let you wear hand wraps.
Yeah.
But if you show up no hand wraps, if we're doing footwork drills, wrap your hands.
Yeah.
But like, get in the mix right away.
Two things that I think are problematic here. One, if you're late every day, and I'm a firm believer in this, being late is telling me that you think your time is more valuable than mine. And if we're teaching a class of 30 people and you're one of those 30 people, you being late is saying that your time is more valuable than all 30 other people in the class, right? 2, if we're doing something complicated and I have to go back and explain to you what it is, that sucks for everybody. I have to stop class to go back and explain to you what we're doing, right? I used to try to punish those people. It did not help.
It doesn't really affect it.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It'd be like, yo, you're going to run 30 laps around the building. They'd run 30 laps around the building and they'd still be 15 minutes late the next 10 times.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that I never, it just, those are those people. The one thing I would say, and this is going to be like maybe kind of controversial for the day. If your warm up is ridiculous, just expect people are going to always be late.
Oh, right.
You know, if you have, I mean, I went to a school one time where they did an hour and 30-minute class, and the first like 40 minutes was the most intense like jujitsu warm up that had nothing to do with jujitsu that I've ever seen. Like running, like doing all kinds of stuff that it's like sprinting, wall walking, like stuff that I was like, well, none of this has anything to do with.
Yeah, where's the martial arts?
Yeah, like there's no martial arts in this. So if some dude showed up 25 minutes late, I'd be like, no, I get it, dude. I didn't want to do that either.
Right,
you know, I'm a big fan of your warm up being something that's actually going to translate to what you're doing that day.
Right.
You know, let's get a drill and start moving immediately.
Yeah. I mean, in recent times, I pretty much start every session with like a footwork routine. Kind of everyone, it's like a systems check. Like you're practicing your feints, your defense, and then maybe start adding your strikes. Now we're shadow boxing, and then this is today's drill. Like, have a system of that. Again, a lot of this is going to come from like a coach.
Yeah.
Kind of like putting standards in place. Because here's another one that's probably built on both of our lists. Spazzy sparring partners.
Oh, yeah.
Or in the same boat, I don't want to like talk too much about each nuanced case. Like, just dumb sparring partners. We did a whole episode on sparring, and
Yeah.
you know, there's nuance to a bad sparring partner.
Yeah.
And the spazzy ones, again, why is the coach letting him spar? If he's spazzy, he's not protecting himself or helping his teammates get better. So
Yeah, I think also too, like, what is the threshold prior to sparring?
yeah,
You know, like,
again, have standards in place.
you
Come
know,
to class X
and
amount
if
of times.
people in sparring are doing certain jerk ass things, why are you the coach being like, great job, dude.
Right.
I love what I'm seeing there. I love it. I love it. I did not actually put that one on there, but what I did put was the student that always wants to know if they can spar more. You know, like,
I didn't get that. So
yeah,
point to Paul.
you know, there's we talk about this a lot. There's like maybe 6 or 7 different like modalities of learning when it comes to like striking, especially. And probably with almost any martial art, there's like 5 or 6 different ways that you learn the martial art. You know, like technique-based training, you know, solo work, whether they call it shadow boxing or forms or bag work or whatever, right? Sparring is probably one of the things that you need the least amount of time in every week. And I would almost argue that as you become a more and more seniored student, the amount of sheer sparring that you need is probably not as much as you would think, right? And we hear these stories about these outlier people that haven't sparred in years, right, that are competing. I don't think that's a great idea either. I think that you do need some time to freelance and to spar and to figure things out. I would certainly say that the more sparring that you do does not translate to you being a better fighter.
Yeah.
Right.
Not necessarily.
No.
I mean, this goes into another common complaint I had was like shitty coaches or like hostile gyms, people who probably go too hard in sparring or, you know, they allow guys to get rocked and dropped and knocked out. And again, that's like the choice of the consumer, right? Like the student.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like that,
But I don't.
some gyms are like shark pits. Like survival of the fittest is what we want here. And if you're into that, go there. And that's where the guys don't complain about that.
I think there's 3 things that said there, or 4 things, or 5. Who knows? One, for whatever reason, the inner beast, like machismo, likes that. You know, I enjoy everybody wants to go in and bang, you know, but like the truth is that those are not the things that are going to make you better. And a lot of times, you know, you, the coach, know better for your student than what they actually need.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where you say like, well, let the consumer choose, right? The problem is the consumer doesn't always necessarily understand.
Yeah.
Right? Because they might be at a gym where they think like, oh, we spar all the time. We are hardcore. That's not necessarily what you need more of.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been to a school that had film study, but every NFL program I've ever seen in my life has film study.
Sure.
You know, NCAA athletes have film study, right? Like theater performers have film study, you know, like, but somehow in our sport, we don't really talk about that a whole lot.
Yeah.
I know that people are talking about it now, but like, you know, yeah, I could probably talk about that more if I had to. Sorry. Pet peeve.
Again, a coach who talks too much.
Yeah, I told you.
By the way,
that
we've
statement.
talked about a couple things where I'm like, you know, I feel the need because I feel guilty that, like, for instance, the hygiene. One of my worst hygiene habits is like I'm barefoot a lot.
Oh, good Lord.
And I've trained with a lot of Muay Thai teams where like you're just barefoot all the time. You're outside shadow boxing, you're inside lifting weights, you're hitting pads, you're running, and it's just barefoot. And I think a lot of gyms nowadays, because they have the jiu-jitsu aspect, and again, those Muay Thai gyms clean up.
Yeah,
it's just you're on your feet pretty much the whole time. You're never on the ground. These gyms nowadays, everyone's got grappling on the schedule.
Yeah.
So now you're in it. Now you're in on the mat. So barefoot's not cool. But I am known to be that guy who I definitely don't go to the bathroom barefoot. That's insane. People who do that are like of a different breed. I'm from the country and I lived on the beach. You know, I'm comfortable barefoot, but when it comes to like some of these other things, I'm like, I'm guilty of that sometimes, the coaching. talking too much?
I had somebody write in, wrestling shoes are magical.
Okay.
And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like,
I can never wear them.
no, they were like, for some reason, I'll go to a gym where they think that if you're wearing wrestling shoes, you can go to the bathroom in them, you can walk around the gym in them, you can walk into the weightlifting area with them, you can do whatever,
Yeah.
and then you can go right back on the mats. But because you're wearing wrestling shoes, they're magical.
Yeah.
Like if it was somebody wearing tennis shoes, you'd be losing your shit.
Right.
But because you see a guy with wrestling shoes on, that's fine.
100%. Yeah.
And that I'm with you on that one, on the barefoot thing. Like the rule of thumb should be, when you're on the mat, you are barefoot. Anytime you are anywhere else, you are wearing shoes. The problem is that, like, one of my friends messaged me and she said that like she had went to a gym where they basically had flip-flops in every size that were just set out for you, so that when you came off the mat, there was like, concierge flip-flops, because they were so worried about, getting infections and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of the biggest problems that we see in gyms. Like gyms get shut down for staph infections.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fighters lose fights because of it.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully it never gets to the point where you're canceling classes because of an infection of that sort, but it has happened.
I knew a gym that shut down for 2 weeks because of ringworm.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You got to clean yourself, guys. Hygiene.
Anyways, where are we at? Is it?
I'm saying it's you.
Oh, it's me now. Okay. Let's go with talking during instruction.
Ooh.
Was that on your list?
No, I didn't name that one.
By the way, you made this a contest, and now
I'm
focused.
I'm
just focused on the points now.
Competitive jerk. Not on my list.
Okay, cool.
Why is this a problem, Rich?
I mean, there's a lot of people who need to hear the instruction, and maybe they have bad focus abilities. They're distracted easily. I, as a coach, if you're talking while I'm talking, I get distracted. It just happens. So
it's disrespectful.
It's
disrespectful.
That's the number one thing, right? And again, I've been that person who's done it. Something funny happens, you want to share it with your buddy, or maybe you're, talking business with someone.
Yeah.
Time and place.
I would like put my little like backpack on that, or piggyback on that one, would be also talking during rules meetings. All right. Like you need, how long is a rules meeting? 20 minutes?
20 to 30.
Yeah.
I do a 30 for the point Muay Thai with this, because we have a lot of gray areas.
But we've also been to rules meetings that are like,
oh man, the one in Vegas for Tough Enough, they have this one cat that does it, and I mean, there's no coach on earth that likes this guy.
Is it long or short?
It's long and it's ridiculous. I feel like it's like a one-man play.
Do you remember if you can give me like a piece of it?
I'll just give you a piece that like he started going into legal and illegal submissions.
Okay.
And he started naming the wackiest submissions none of us have ever heard. I remember raising my hand going, "Can you show that?" Like I've been grappling for over 15 years. I've never seen that before. Never heard of that move. The riding cowboy. I'm like, what did you just say?
You can't do the riding cowboy, that's for sure.
Yeah, that guy sucks.
Well, hopefully he doesn't listen. Or hopefully he does. Maybe he needs to know he sucks.
Yeah. I'll come out of retirement for that
guy. We talked about sparring. I'll hit you with one on that same vein. People that only show up to spar.
Oh yeah, I didn't get that, but that is one of my pet peeves.
Yeah.
Like I've talked about in previous episodes, I don't even allow you to. Like, again, this comes from a coach. Like, you set a standard, you set a system.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't either. But even though I don't, there are times where it's like, like let's say I saw you last Thursday, we sparred, and then it's been like a week, and maybe I don't, like, let's be honest, I'm not always keeping a running track of like, oh, I haven't seen so-and-so the last 3 days. And then it's Thursday and like we're sparring. And then I'm like, and then someone's like, oh, I haven't seen that guy since he sparred last week. And I'm like, oh, he got me.
Yeah. Like you said, though, like it's hard for you to keep track. But I let the other guys know too. Like, hey, was he here this week?
Yeah.
Like that accountability on the team, I think really helps with those
again,
situations.
that goes back to so many people think that they only benefit from sparring.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you. There was a time where I was at a gym where we sparred 3 times a week, every single week.
Yeah.
Nobody was getting better. everyone was getting brain damage.
Yeah.
Straight up, nobody was getting better. And then,
We get so tough.
So hardcore, bro.
So tough.
I spar. I was in Vegas at the UFCPI, and they were doing like a symposium, and Forrest Griffin, who's like obviously famous, I think he's the VP of training now for the UFC or something.
Yeah, he has a cool job.
And he's like, I really regret, the number one thing that I regret is sparring 15 rounds a week for my whole career. Well, here we go. We have a VP of training, a guy that was a heavyweight or light heavyweight champion, I should say, for a brief period, and
he had the belt.
Yeah, and he's saying, "I wish I would have sparred less."
Yeah,
that should be a sign to anyone coming up that you see guys like Tony Ferguson, like, I haven't sparred in 2 years. That might be a sign that you can technical spar and you can hard spar, and those are two very different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when it comes to technical sparring, I call it freelancing. So you're drilling, but we're just throwing some random things in there.
Yeah.
But there's no intent behind anything, That you could probably do a lot more of, but you have to be at a really high level to even understand how to play that game.
Going to the Forrest thing, when I was teaching out at Syndicate for a while, he would be in the gym. He'd go to all the Vegas gyms and stuff.
Yeah.
And one thing he pointed out was Roxanne Modafferi. After sparring, she always put on this like cryo helmet. So
Yeah.
it was like a
cooler
big helmet
head down or
and it was
something.
all frozen, right? That had ice packs in it. And he said that they had been reviewing studies showing how much that reduces basically brain cell loss, because when you're getting hit in the head and you're bouncing around, it's heating up in there, and as it continues to stay hot, which is post sparring, you're still losing brain cells. So if you put on those ice packs, even if you just do like a regular ice pack, you're doing yourself a big service. That's
Or
a little tip for a lot of
after you spar, go take a shower immediately.
Yeah.
And shower with
cold
cooler
shower.
water.
Yeah.
Bring your temperature down.
Yeah.
And just don't have a stroke and die in the bathroom.
Please and thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, that goes to mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Puking on the mats.
Oh.
Did you have that one?
No, I didn't have that one. That's
All
yours. You get that. I did have a rule at my gym that if you throw up on the mat, you clean it up.
That
that's
should
on
be
you.
the rule.
Yeah, that's on
1000%. Yeah, my solution for that, guys, if you feel sick, don't come to the gym.
Yeah.
That's just good courtesy. And then if you feel like you're in the mat, maybe it's an emergency, whatever the case, maybe you got hit real hard. Be strong.
Move quickly.
Be strong.
Move quickly.
Make it outside. No one's going to be upset if you puke outside, or make it to the bathroom.
I can't tell you how many people I know that will
Know
throw
your
up
exits.
and then say, "Ugh, I knew I was going to throw up."
Yeah.
Well, if you knew you were going to throw up, why are you still here?
Just
Like,
leave.
what are you doing, bro?
Yeah. And hopefully it's the last time you do that. If you're like a perpetual puker, then the coach might have to kick you out of the team.
Bro, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I got one. This is a little bit more like, okay, this might get some heat, and this was not mine, but I do completely understand, and I'm gonna get some heat for this one, but I'm gonna say it. Showing your going to a jiu-jitsu tournament and showing your silver medal on social media when you literally only lost one match. If you're in a bracket, it's you and one other person.
Yeah.
You go, and it's just you and one other person in a bracket, and you lose, you get a silver medal, okay? Because there's gold, silver, bronze, right? So if there's only two people in the division, one person's guaranteed gold and one person's guaranteed silver.
Yeah.
You lost.
Yeah, my thing with
lost.
that is, you see how with social media now, we all get like a glimpse in how people react to things. And I'm sure there's plenty of people in that situation who don't post. And I'm sure there's like people who do that and they post, maybe not knowing in other people's eyes that it looks bad. But I feel like, because I have seen that often and I've worked with people who've done that, I think it's more of like a representation of like the training and making it and getting through the nerves. Because there is some reward to that.
Okay.
But I also am like, yeah, dude, you lost. You're a loser. Don't be bragging on that.
Yeah, but this is my thing. Like, how often do we see that? Like, I have never seen anybody ever.
Yeah.
that I can think of that fought an MMA fight or fought a Muay Thai fight or fought a kickboxing fight and did a social media post and said, I came in second place.
Yeah.
You lost. There was a winner and there's a loser. You lost that one. Now, there's like learning tournaments and there's other things that, you know, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in a full contact tournament or you're in a match or something that is a high level, like you're at the, you know, world level event, and there's two people in your division and you lose, I mean, I would much prefer that you do a post highlighting what a great experience you had and highlighting
I mean,
all of those other
if you're
things.
just trying to like make it seem as if you went through the tournament and had a hellacious, you know, journey to make it to second place.
Yeah.
That's
you
weird.
fought 4 matches.
Yeah.
You know, and you had you guys, in the finals
I
got
outpointed
if somebody puts in a post, guys, I had an amazing go, but in the finals I got submitted. And then you find out that they only had one match and it was a finals match.
30-second sub.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know that I needed that.
Yeah.
How am I doing on that cheat sheet there?
What's the score?
Yeah, what do we scored?
You're actually with that you get a point. So we're tied 6-6.
Oh, okay. We'll see how this goes.
It's on me now, right?
That is on you, sir.
Oh, so this is a personal one for me for students. And it's kind of like a catch-22, but like lying or withholding truth about injuries.
Okay.
Or even like life problems, like if something's going real bad. Now, with the injuries one, it's really important for me, like, as a coach to know what's hurting so we can adjust the session, right? Or if it hurts so bad, like I could recommend some, you know, form of healing or procedure, right?
Sure.
But if you come in and I'm like, hey, I see you limping. No, I'm good, coach. And then today's all about, you know, jump spin kicks. And now you twisted your ankle. You know what I'm saying? So I really hate when students lie about injuries. Now, to that point, if you have a bad coach and they hear you like bitching a lot, they might punish you in certain ways. So I understand why you would lie. But just having that understanding of like, don't be that guy crying wolf all the time. I'm hurt.
Yeah. If you say you're hurt, you're hurt.
You're hurt. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
This is a contact sport. People are going to get hurt.
Oh,
here.
yeah. We'll figure it out.
I guess my like piggyback on that would be like, we have had some injuries in tournaments where people are like, oh yeah, this is a reoccurring injury.
Yeah.
Well, why haven't you done your due diligence? Like I'm going to give you like a hypothetical here. If you've had reoccurring shoulder issues, you need to make sure that you go get that evaluated.
Yeah.
And if you don't have insurance and you don't have a doctor and you don't have any of these things, then maybe, you know, you need to figure out how to get those things before you. Maybe you need to figure out how to get insurance before you figure out how to be a full contact fighter. And I know that's
rare these days.
That's super rare. Super rare. I got one. This one is from the Calcucate on Instagram and TikTok. And she put coaches that spend too much time teaching advanced material while not teaching enough breakdowns of fundamental movements.
Yeah, fundamentals. Yeah, I've had that. I think we've all had coaches that kind of tend to...
Well, because that's what you're excited about.
Yeah.
Right? Like you as a coach, you're really excited about that new thing that you're seeing or you're thinking about, or, you know, this new thing that's working in fights. And then you come to class and you have a class full of, you know, fundamental people, and you're teaching like jab cross, step through, you know, like, you know, advanced setup, stuff like that. Yeah. Like your people aren't there yet.
Yeah. I remember I had one of my first jiu-jitsu coaches. I had a couple like catch wrestling coaches first, but my first jiu-jitsu coach, the first day I went with him, he showed us triangle and then 2 armbar. And I was like, sick. That's really awesome. I didn't know that. And then the next day we were doing go-go plata to knee bar into some funky calf slicer. And I was just like, I must have messed up.
This is something that
that stuff is like so low percentage too.
Yeah.
So if you're focusing on that,
I think that also comes into play into what kind of gym you're training in. Mm-hmm. You know, but I think that this is one of the problems. This is one of the things about jiu-jitsu is that if you go and watch kickboxing, if you go and watch Muay Thai from like the 90s, you go and watch Muay Thai from the 2000s, you go and watch Muay Thai from the 2010s.
Yeah.
It really has not changed that much, right? Jiu-jitsu is such an evolving art, and
For
the
sure.
sport and everything is changing so much that, you know, a jiu-jitsu black belt in the 90s, there was essentially 36 techniques, right? And like in 92, 93, 94, somewhere around there, if you became a black belt, you had mastery of 36 techniques.
Yeah.
Today, I think that they have documented over 1,000 jiu-jitsu techniques. The problem is that those 36 techniques are super high percentage, and they're techniques that, you know, triangle choke, guillotine,
Rear naked choke.
you know, these are things that people still see every single tournament, every single fight. But there has been this explosion of advanced technique. I'm going to give you an example. When I go and do jiu-jitsu class and they start doing spider guard, I'm not interested. That doesn't, you know, I'm not interested in doing spider guard at all.
Yeah, I've done it to my nephews. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, sure. And in gi, it's great.
Yeah. I don't see a self-defense
No,
moment where
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
I wish I had better spider guard.
Yeah, and you know, you're not fighting MMA in a gi.
Yeah.
You know, but
Not yet. That's coming.
it might be coming back.
Somewhere.
You never know. Somebody right now is like, yeah, we are. You got one for me?
Yeah, so like obviously one of the common complaints is everyone's like, oh, I got this angry sparring partner, or this guy goes too hard. And I agree, those guys suck, right? But like
Sure.
that again goes to the coach, like why are they sparring?
Why do you let them spar?
Yeah, or this is the environment, get out of that gym. But I have a hot take.
Okay.
Being too nice sparring. And what I mean by that is not necessarily going light. You know, I love light contact. Let's get a lot of reps in. But like high-fiving every round.
Yeah.
You know, hugging every
Turning your back on your
exchange,
opponent.
talking mid-round.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're using it strategically to set something up, like, I just want you to practice. If we're sparring, we're supposed to be practice fighting.
Yeah.
Right? So do the things you're going to do. Not to say not have fun, but don't be so nice to where this isn't how you're going to act in a ring.
I think it's not so much the way, it's your demeanor.
Yeah.
You know, like when you are sparring, you should be sparring with the demeanor of we are sparring. You might be the nicest guy ever. You have the nicest intent. You're not going to hurt the guy. But you are replicating the way that you are going to fight in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, if you're saying something to kind of set someone up,
Oh, yeah.
that's different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a feint. But yeah, there's guys out there who, you know, they catch a kick, throw a kick, and then they want to high five, dance around for 10 seconds, and then go back to it. And that just really annoys me. That's a personal pet peeve.
I got one for you.
Go for it.
So this one comes from Christian from Colorado, and he says, and man, I hope I might be guilty of this as well. People suggesting that a martial art isn't worth training if it doesn't work in real life situations. And I know for sure that there are martial arts that are maybe like, you know, like Tai Chi. These are not designed for fighting. You know, there are martial arts that are more arts and cultural.
Yeah.
They're not designed for fighting. They were designed for fighting 300, 400 years ago.
Sure.
But that is not what they are today. And, you know, saying that something is not worth training because it is not balanced towards, you know, real fighting or competitive fighting or whatever, it's unfair. It just depends on what the practitioner's purpose is.
Right.
Right. Like if your grandma told you that she was going to start doing Tai Chi and you're like, that's a waste of time. Tai Chi is useless.
Right. Yeah. I love those traditional martial arts now because you see the benefit of it. Like I know I'm going to get old and crippled, halfway there. And at some point I'm not going to be able to throw hard knees on a bag.
Yeah.
Be able to do a lot of clinch work. At some point I'm probably going to look to do Tai Chi to keep my body moving, and it feels familiar enough to where I can maybe.
You told me your friend Seth loves karate and loves doing forms, and even when he was competing, he was doing he'd warm up with forms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of those guys in the MMA game who come from a karate base, who still do their katas.
Yeah.
And I used to be the guy who made fun of that. And then as I get older, yeah,
like, show me that kata.
as I get older, I'm like, I see the benefit of that because it's a structured drill that just tunes your body into like precise movement. No fat on these movements.
And you could potentially use these things to develop like a meditative state,
Exactly,
and to kind of get in your brain where it needs to be for training.
Now there are certain types of martial arts that, your boy from McDojo Life, he always exposes these crazy gyms.
Sure, Rob.
So if we're talking about that kind of martial art,
I think, yeah. I mean, this is what it. Well, but if you are saying this is a self-defense art and it wouldn't work, then that deserves to be
noted
and exposed.
Yeah.
But if you're saying like, oh, I'm never going to train katas because they don't work in real fights, never going to be choreographed.
Right. Like,
it's not really what it was designed for.
If you're doing like a very strong competitive martial art, but still seen as traditional, is like Taekwondo. If you're training Taekwondo for the sport, it still grants you some purpose of self-defense.
Yeah.
Is it the best self-defense? Probably not. But it gives you some confidence to do something.
I mean, you can make an argument that there's been a lot of things now in jiu-jitsu that are very sport-based, like inverting and all this other stuff that you probably wouldn't do in a real fight.
I did them, and I got stomped on, and it's not advisable.
But it is legitimate.
I had top control, too.
It is legitimate in sport jiu-jitsu, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to understand. If you're training at a gym because you want to be great at, if you came to me and you're like, Paul, I want you to train me in Muay Thai because I want to be great at playing soccer.
Yeah.
I'd be like, we're in the wrong place, my dude. This is not for you. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand what you're training for and be realistic.
Yeah.
But look, on the other side of that is if you're claiming that something is a self-defense technique and it does not work, someone should call you out for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Goes both ways.
My go?
Yep.
It is, I'm going to go with grabbing the straps of a heavy bag, particularly for the skip knees exercises.
All right.
And this has driven me nuts for years.
Okay.
For years.
What is it about the straps that you have a problem with?
So one, as a coach, right, you're doing poor technique. You're being lazy. You're holding onto these straps. You're not engaged upper body, which is the clinch is full body workout. So you should be gripping the bag. It's difficult. It's hard.
Yeah.
But so is fighting, right?
Sure.
So be gripping the bag. That's how I was taught it, and it's done me wonders. The other thing is you're pulling on straps that aren't designed to be pulled on. They're designed to hold a bag.
Sure.
So I've seen it time and time again. Brand new bags get torn up very quickly. They should not. They should last years and years. But because people are pulling on those straps all the time. So that's my big pet peeve.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I haven't really thought too much about that, but
I think about it too much.
That could be yours. You might own that one. You get points for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one. Exaggerating your level of training or fight record. The guy that comes in the gym and I'm like, hey, have you how long you been training? Years. Okay, how many fights you have? I have 10 street fights.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we deal with this at the Point Muay Thai events a lot, right? Like, we're going through people's, like, how long have you been training? They go, I started, and I'm like, no, just give me a time.
Like, how long? How long?
Like, put it to months. How many months have you put into work?
A guy one time because here's the thing, at Point Muay Thai, we want to match you up by how long you've been training and kind of like what your record is, right? If you have, we have guys that come. We had a guy that came to full contact. We had a guy that came to the Point Muay Thai tournament 2 tournaments ago in Orlando. He had 12 full contact fights. Mm-hmm. We want to find someone that's going to give him a workload that makes sense, right? It's semi-contact, so there's a little bit of room to like whatever. Yeah. But if somebody's been training for 2 months and this guy's been training for 20 years with 12 full contact fights, maybe they need to find someone that's a good partner, right? Yeah. Likewise, maybe last year sometime we had a guy came in that told me he had been training for 20 years.
Yeah.
This man had not been training for 20 years. I'm going to tell you right now. Just watching the man move, it looked like maybe he had been training for 6 months, 8 months. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, an unfair thing to say, because if you're like, if I was like, how long have you been walking? And you're like, I've been walking for 36 years. That is probably fair. But I was really asking how long you've been walking continuously.
Yeah.
You know, so if you train for 3 months in your teens, and you train for a year in your 20s, and you train for a year in your 30s, you have not been training for 20 years. You've
Right.
trained for on and off for several years.
Yeah. I think guys really like hold numbers really close to them. Like, you know, everyone cares about their fight record. Everyone cares about exposing how long or how little they've been training. Just be honest. Who gives a shit? Just be honest. That one bugs me a lot.
Why I have been saying this a lot lately privately, and I will say it publicly. There needs to be a unified system where fight records are tracked.
Yeah.
Where if you fight Muay Thai, no matter what organization you fight in, you as a coach can go online and see, okay, this person has 10 fights.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in these 5 different organizations. Because constantly people are sandbagging or trying to make their record look like it is better than it is. Jiu-jitsu has done a better job now of kind of eliminating that, but for whatever reason, MMA, Muay Thai has not done a great job of that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it might just be our sport or our state. I'm sorry.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, maybe.
But I've come across it plenty of times as a competitor, as a coach. It happens all the time.
I did a video on taping and gauzing hands, and I posted it last week. And one of my buddies watches my videos. He lives in New York, and he's like, "It's good. It was a good video, but here's like 10 pointers."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, I have the feeling that I tape and gauze hands really good for Florida, but probably not great for like New York, Chicago, California. Like, there's just different levels in different states of different understandings.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I'm talking about like Florida's the Wild West sometimes when it comes to records. You can have a guy that tells you that he has no fights, and then you go on his Instagram and he's holding 3 different titles, and you'll be like, how does this guy have 3 titles and no fights?
Yeah.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know how that works. What do you got?
Not teaching pad holding.
Ooh.
I had actually 2 people say this, and then this is something I've come across with working with other coaches or working within gyms. It's a weird thing you see where like coaches are the only pad holders. And they don't really pass the knowledge or even the simplest ways of holding pads outside of like maybe exercises.
This is the thing about art and culture and about. So, I had one of my first instructors, Courtney White in Miami, would do this thing where when he did like his like intro lesson, he would explain like the 5 or 6 reasons that people train martial arts, right? And I'm going to butcher this, but like some people come to your martial arts class because they want to learn fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Some people come because they want to learn how to defend themselves. Some people come because they love the sport. Some people come because they want to be in a social environment,
Yeah.
Some people come because they love the art and culture of whatever it is that you're doing. So, for example, I used to do like a Filipino martial art, and when you get a lot of like 3rd generation Filipinos that were essentially very Americanized, and they would want to come in and learn it because it's the martial art of their.
It's like grassroots.
Yeah, their culture. They're like, oh, I want to learn like how the Filipinos fought, whatever. Yeah. I think that a lot of times the way we teach is a product of art and culture. And I mean that by saying, this is the way that I was taught. This is the way that my coach was taught. This is the way my coach's coach was taught.
Yeah.
So this is the way that I am going to teach. You see it a lot with warmups. Like gyms have done the same warm-up for like 35 years.
It's wild for me because I've had a few of my past students become coaches, and there's times where I'll go and visit or I'll see them post online like drills I used to teach, but now I've like completely taken out. I'm like, that's wasted time. And that's always been my mentality is like, your masters don't know everything. You can always learn elsewhere, which is actually a pet peeve that got messaged. I don't want to be like 2 in a row on you. But,
hold it.
Yeah.
Write it down and hold it.
Oh, I got you.
Hold it. But so because I don't want to walk away from the feeding pads thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You are 100% right. And if you are a gym that does pad holding, right, or you an martial art that does pad holding, it is expected for you to teach your students pad holding, right? Because not every student is going to be a fighter. Some students might become coaches.
Yeah.
Some students might become pad holders. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I'll be honest with you, I was a very good pad holder, so I had some really great experiences because of that, where I got to be a part of camps that I probably wouldn't have been a part of, but I could feed, well, and they're like, oh, you can come along with us.
Yeah.
That's something that needs to be taught.
Yeah, I think it's a great skill to have for many reasons, but as far as like fighting skills, you really get to understand distance and defense and timing, and you get to be on the other side of always attacking.
Yeah.
I don't see why anyone would want to not make that part of their curriculum to teach pads.
You got to own pads.
I have fighters hit me up, oh, I want to work. I don't have anyone who can hold for me. My coach is always busy. And I'm just like,
find another student.
Yeah, like, is there no one in your gym who can hold pads for you? Like, no.
You know what I mean? Like that should be like a fundamental thing, is that you should be able to feed pads.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, look, dude, when I was coming up, I was very lucky because I was at a gym that was very pad holder friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And, we would regularly like meet up with people, and they'd have, we would go back and forth 4-minute rounds, right? Like you do 4 minutes of work, and then you put on your pads, and they would put on their gloves, and you do 4 minutes of work.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I'm not a huge fan of the Dutch style of feeding with gloves, where two fighters both wearing gloves are going back and forth feeding each other. But that is something that I could probably debate for.
I love it, but,
many hours.
But that's not necessarily pad holding, right? That's just a different operation. But there's benefits to all of it, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
you got one?
Yeah, I got something. Or did you want to go the one you wrote down, or you want me to do it?
No. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. I will say, okay. So Eugene from Legends Martial Arts in Westchester, New York says, the guy that shows up every 2 weeks asking how he gets better because he's feeling stagnant. And that, I mean, I've definitely experienced that.
That guy sucks.
If you haven't experienced that, you haven't been in the game long enough. But there are these dudes that like never show up, and then when they show up, they're like, "Coach, man, I just feel like I'm not getting better. Everyone around me is getting better. Like, I'm just feeling really stagnant."
Yeah,
dude, you're showing up twice a month. Of course, everyone around you is getting better. They're showing up more than you're showing up.
Right.
We have a shirt on our website that literally says "Show up." Like, that's the number one tool for being successful, right? I have a master's degree in college. I regularly tell students, if you just show up, you will probably pass this class.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the truth, man. But you always have these guys that like, oh, coach, they only show up for sparring, and then they tell you that they don't feel like they're getting better.
Yeah.
Well, when are you working on your technique, man? Like, that one gets me a little hot, man.
Yeah, that's the guy this is what I tell my students. The more you come, the more likely it is I'll remember your name. If you show up every 2 weeks and I'm like, what's your name again? And then eventually they start getting offended, and I'm like, I don't know you.
Yeah, you
show up 2 times every month, maybe. Like, I got these other guys who I have to actually give attention to.
I had a guy that made, when I was teaching at a gym, he went to the owner of the gym, and he said that I played favorites, and then he listed like the 4 or 5 people I played favorites to, and then I literally pulled the attendance. And the 4 or 5 people he said that I paid the most favorites to were the people that showed up the most. And he was one of the people that showed up the least.
Yeah. And that's no attack on your personality. That's just
like,
what are we here for? This is a team sport in some aspects.
Sure.
When you're operating a team and you got guys who aren't putting in the same effort,
I'm not going to give you the effort you give me. I'm going to give you the effort you give me.
Exactly.
If you show up twice a month, you're getting twice a month effort.
Oh, My go, right?
Yeah.
Coaches who don't allow cross training.
Ooh.
Right.
All right. I have a derivative of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get excited. I got a.
Is that a
derivative of
both
that.
point or is that a my point?
That's a both point, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah. Because I have on here coaches that are overly focused on money or ego instead of their students' own personal journey.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is kind of the same
connected, yeah.
thing, right? I have struggled with this a little bit in my life. I'm going to be honest with you. I resemble that comment a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
I get the argument because I've been with gyms who are staunchly against it, and then I've been with gyms who are extremely open. There's pros and cons to both sides.
I've said this before. I did a video on, essentially waving the flag, where I'm a big believer that for you to be successful, you have to have a home gym.
Mm-hmm.
I have talked critically about, certain athletes that bounce from gym to gym and kind of succubus whatever they can from the system and then move on to the other gym.
Yeah.
I could name drop professional athletes that I think do that aren't necessarily getting everything that they need to get out of it. You got to find the balance. I think that it is. I think that I'm not the source. I didn't create anything. I created nothing, right? All I'm doing is taking the information that I'm getting. I'm going out and getting information. And I'm trying to give that to my students, right? Mm-hmm. I have sponsored a lot of like cross training events when I was coaching, and I've always been a big fan of like seminars and bringing people in. But I'm also kind of very weary of the student that he's in one gym on Monday, another gym on Tuesday, another gym on Thursday. When I lived in Miami and I was more focused on my own personal training, I regularly trained at 2 different gyms. I trained at a more traditional Muay Thai school that was very Muay Thai oriented.
Yeah.
And then I trained at like an MMA,
right?
A school that did like boxing and kickboxing, and they did a little bit of Muay Thai, but I didn't really take the Muay Thai classes there, and they had jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And I felt like it was valuable, but I also wasn't competing actively. I think if you're an active competitor, it is more valuable probably to be in one team in one place a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure. And again, there's a lot of nuance to like people's situations. It's like there's pro fighters who do camps elsewhere.
Sure.
They try out new teams.
Sure.
But when you're talking about the general person or a regional fighter, it absolutely helps to have your home base. To that point, I'm also very open to it, because if you don't want to work with me, please don't work with me. But yeah, I have a lot of loyal students who continuously want to work. So therefore, I will do that. When it comes to running a team, again, I have like standards, like you have to be here 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Then you can spar. So it's not the 3rd day you show up, you're sparring. It's
the
the 4th day.
Yeah.
So in that time elsewhere, again, if you're a regional guy and you got a 2-a-days and you're spending 1/2 of your day at another gym, it's acceptable. Again, I even like to talk to the other coaches.
Well, you have to be successful. You as a coach would then have to.
Yeah.
So that is also a kind of a pain, because if you're going to be doing your striking in one gym, your jiu-jitsu in another, your MMA in a third.
Yeah.
All of those coaches have to be on the same page.
And we're all cornering.
That's a real.
So we have to get together at some point.
That's a real.
Hopefully not the day of the fight.
That's why I think I think most gyms have moved towards having all of those people in one building,
Mm-hmm.
and let's be honest, I've been in those buildings. They don't always necessarily even get along if they're in the same building.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's wild. Gyms are crazy.
Do you want a? Okay, I've been kind of avoiding this one, but I guess I'll go back to it.
Sick.
All right. There is I think a misconception, and I mean this in the nicest way, and I've heard a couple of coaches say it over the last few months, just whatever, of people thinking that sometimes a guy will show up to class and I'll be like, have you trained before? And they will say the phrase, I trained in Thailand. Okay.
Yeah.
How much did you actually train in Thailand? Did you go there for a week?
Yeah.
And you've never done Muay Thai before, and you went for a week and you like hung out for a week and trained like a little bit? Or did you train 6 hours a day for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Because those are two very different experiences. One. Two, you know, look, Muay Thai comes from Thailand, but the real value in training in Thailand is that it's extremely affordable. So if you're like a young professional athlete trying to make your moves, instead of you living for $3,000 or $4,000 a month in the United States, you might be able to live for $300 or $400. So you may have a lot more time to train.
Yeah.
And recently I was at a tournament and I heard a coach say that he was commenting about another student, that his student had left to go train in Thailand for a while and had come back, and he felt his student had gotten worse. Well, what was he doing? Was he actually training in Thailand, or was he going to the beach every day and hanging out and having a good time drinking too much? So if you think, sometimes people think that for them to get great, they have to go somewhere else. I don't necessarily believe that. I think for you to be great, you have to have a singular focus and train a lot. But, you know, if some guy was to commit 6 hours a day to training with you, they'd probably get really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a lot, but they would probably get amazing.
Sure.
So training 6 hours a day anywhere, in any country in the world, as long as you have the right people around you, are going to make you amazing.
Well, one of the biggest lessons I learned when I was in Vegas was there's great coaches everywhere, because we get in so many coaches from other places. Again, they'd come and do their fight camp there, and their fighter would bring their coaches, and you learn like very quickly, like it's no coincidence that, especially now in MMA, you see these guys come from quote unquote no-name gyms and become world champions. You know, like Volkanovski comes from a little gym out of Australia. Australia is not the strongest country for MMA, not historically, but one of the pound-for-pound goats is out of there. Again, you can see that across the board. New Zealand's been big. We're getting guys out of England now that are like top-notch. So these big camp gyms or things like that, what I learned training at one and teaching at one was there's great coaches everywhere.
Also, I think that I was talking to my friend online the other day about this, and he was talking about private lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that he's been thinking a lot about private lessons lately, and he thinks that like new students need private lessons to kind of get their feet wet and to figure out some fundamentals and stuff. And advanced students really need private lessons. Like your fighters, the people that are, you know, really going out there and pushing the envelope, really need that one-on-one time to develop. The people in the middle probably don't benefit from private lessons as much.
Yeah.
And I see what he's saying, and I don't necessarily 100% agree with that. But I think that my argument point would be, if you go to Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand, you're one of 400 people in class sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Their class roster is over 400.
That's insane.
If you are training at a gym where you have a really good coach and there's 25 people in class, you're probably going to get a lot more personal experience.
Yeah.
You know, if a guy is teaching a class of 20 people and it's a 60-minute class, you're probably going to get about 2 to 3 minutes of personal time a class.
Mm-hmm.
And if now that class has 200 people in it, that you're getting 10 seconds, 15 seconds of personal time. So I agree with you. I think that a lot of times people think that they have to go to these really big, successful schools. Not really. I think you need a good coach and you need an individual attention, but that is hard to find sometimes, even at the local level. You got one for me?
Yeah, I got a hot take.
Uh-huh.
This one's always bugged me.
Uh-oh.
Day one student, I asked what this thing was and then never saw the point of it. The speed bag. I hate the speed bag. I might lose a couple of friends on this. I despise it. And as a coach, I even hated it more because, you know, again, I'd work at some gyms that I didn't design. There's another coach there, and they'd have speed bags set up. So guys would come in
it's loud.
And just bop, 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 bop. I'm trying to teach. It's very distracting.
Yeah.
And again, I really think it's probably the most useless piece of equipment.
Have you? Let me ask you this: have you ever done? Have you done? Okay, if you are listening at home and you're an enthusiast, you're not really training, that's fine. In boxing gyms, the speed bag is still very popular.
Yeah.
I might get in trouble for this. Most MMA fighters could not hit a speed bag for the life of them. There's so much.
Good for them.
There's so much required to learn in MMA that it's like it just gets put to the wayside, right?
Yeah.
In boxing, because there's not as many techniques to learn, it's a lot more repetition. The speed bag has a place still. Have you ever spent any significant time, working with or training with a speed bag?
I've been tried, because this has been something since I was a young lad, 15 years old, going, that seems dumb.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I be better just to punch a heavy bag?
Yes.
Couldn't I just hit mitts instead?
Yes.
Should I just shadow box?
Yes.
It's timing, it's rhythm. Doing this?
Yeah.
I'm not throwing straight punches. I'm not throwing hooks. Now
Okay.
there are some
Sure, of
exercises
course,
I've
of course.
seen that may be applicable, but it's not the generic the thump style. I don't even want to say what I think that looks like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big fan of it. It's not what you want to do.
Okay.
You want to throw straight punches. You want to throw uppercuts.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this with your feet together.
I think
dancing.
that it has a certain amount of therapeutic enjoyment.
Yeah. That's my thing, is the guys who are coming to class and doing that while another class is coming on.
You're a prick.
They're not
You're
just pricks.
an
I think they're
absolute
like
prick.
mentally ill. And those are the ones we need to pull aside
You're-
and kind of evaluate
Yeah, they need
if
to be
they're
sent
safe
out.
to be there.
The only time I have ever had to kick a student out from my program completely was they were hitting the speed bag. And I was like, can you please stop?
Extremely obnoxious.
And they were like, no. And I was like, all right. And then they went and did it again. And I was like, you're done, dude.
Yeah.
Get out.
Is that a point for me?
Yeah, you get that one.
No one else likes the speed bag.
There
as
are
much as I
various
do.
things that were developed in a time when it was hard to get really good training partners.
Yeah.
Things like heavy bags, speed bags, forms,
Yeah.
like katas, in Wing Chun, the wooden dummy, sandbags on the wall, all of these things were developed in a time where, you may be a monk and you were training somewhere and you didn't have, partners to train with,
Sure.
I think that we, again, get lost sometimes in art and culture when we really need to have honest discussions about what is the value of this. And if you had to eliminate one piece of equipment from probably every gym and it was the speed bag, I don't think anybody would care.
Yeah.
I have one in my garage. I use it. I love the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it made me a better fighter.
No.
It pisses my neighbors off sometimes. Straight up, they've told me.
If I was your neighbor, I'd burn your house
They've fucking
down.
told me about it. Yeah, they can hear it. They don't
Yeah.
like it. And I live in a single family home, so
Yeah.
that's impressive that they can hear that.
Right. Yeah, it is.
And I'm not
impressive.
even hitting it that hard, but
It's too much air. It's bouncing off of wood and
I
plastic.
hear you. People don't enjoy it.
Yeah. And again, I understand that people enjoy it because it's therapeutic, but I feel like, again, there's no
You're
necessity.
probably gonna get like a pipe bomb in the mail for that one.
That's fine.
Somebody somewhere is
Come at
gonna
me.
like the Unabomber is like
Please.
in prison right now thinking about killing you.
I'll take it.
Okay, here's mine. The guy that thinks he's already better than everyone and he's only been training for like a month.
Yeah.
I
can't give you the point on that because I got something pretty much the same thing.
Same thing.
Where be humble. Don't jump the gun. You're doing well a year in, but you're not a 5-year student type of mentality.
Yeah, I have another piece of that was the guy that's only been training for 2 months but doesn't want to work with new people.
Sure.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
friend online said, "F that guy. He's still new."
Yeah.
And it's true, man. Like,
Well, even experienced people, I don't want to work with new people. That's insane to me.
I think that it depends because like there is a certain amount of like the spazzy, like please don't hurt me.
Yeah. What is the
You
work that we're
know,
talking about?
what are we
We're-
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
But I think that a fundamental part of learning martial arts is being able to teach it to other people.
Yeah.
And there's certain drills where, you do want someone that's a little bit more advanced, and there's certain drills that does not make a difference,
Mhm.
but I think that you got to stay humble in this industry. And I think a lot of times people, they really, really struggle with that. You know, and another example of that would be in Muay Thai. There's no belting system in Muay Thai. Okay, I know there are some martial arts that have like kind of developed belting systems, and I sometimes now see in the UFC people describe themselves as a black belt in Muay Thai. That is not real. That is not a real thing.
I mean, it might be in your gym.
Maybe.
Yeah, to the rest of the world.
You know, I have an old instructor that said that the only belts in that there are belts in Muay Thai. There are things called the world titles, state champions, national titles, and if you want to go out and fight to win a belt, you can. But yeah, dude, like you need to develop a sense of ego, and like people come to the gym and be like, I am a red band. I'm a red band in Muay Thai. Bro, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? Or I'm a blue shirt in Muay Thai. That's great. And I've said this to you before. We're an industry where we find shirts and shorts to be valuable. You know what I mean? Like,
valuable.
Give me the shirt.
It's world titles and then it's t-shirts.
Bro, listen, you know, you're wearing a submission grappling t-shirt today. You know.
This is one of my favorite shirts.
You know, there's a limited number of those, dude. I saw somebody wearing an old school IKF hoodie recently at a fight. And I was like, oh man, that hoodie must be 20 years old. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
So
jealous. I was jealous,
yeah.
you know?
I agree.
I mean, it is what it is. Your turn.
Is it?
I could do another one.
Yeah, I think it's you.
Okay. The guy that you show them a technique. They've never seen the technique before. They try it one time and they say, this doesn't feel natural to me.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. Listen, if you see, I've been saying this for years. If you watch two apes fight, okay, they try to wrestle each other to the ground and rip off each other's limbs.
Yeah.
There's
not some
throwing
going on.
Yeah. They're not throwing jabs and round kicks. Yeah, dude. I'll have people that come to the gym. They've never trained before. They have never done any martial art before. And I'll be like, okay, you know, like what we like to do is we like to put your power side in the back. So, you know, if you're right-handed, your left foot's going to be forward. And they'll be like, no, I like it this way. I like fighting this way, man. This just feels natural to me.
Yeah.
Or have you fought before? Oh, man. But you know, in the street. Okay, can you just put your right leg in the back and we'll just start off there and we can change it later? No, man, it doesn't feel natural to me. All right, cool. And then if they stay with me for 3 months, which is a miracle.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, man, my offense is really good, but I really struggled defending myself. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's why everyone put their strong side in the back, because it's easier to defend yourself when your strong side's in the back, my dude. And they're like, oh, what are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that since day one, you should have been training with your strong side in the back.
As I asked.
As I specifically asked you to, and you refused to. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Or guys come into the gym like, I'm naturally good at fighting. I already know how to punch. I just need to learn how to kick.
There's no such thing.
You can't be, man.
As a natural fighter.
Now, you may be a quick learner. You may be a natural athlete.
Sure, a natural athlete.
Yeah, which is great. And those are separate skills, though. When we're talking about throwing punches, blocking, slipping.
There are attributes that might make you successful in any sport, but when it comes to, you know, throwing a double jab.
And when to throw it.
Yeah. Understanding timing, understanding movement, being able to breathe during all that.
That doesn't come natural.
There's no such thing as a natural fighter.
Yeah.
Right? Just like there's no such thing as a natural doctor.
Yeah.
If you're like, Doc, you're gonna do this surgery, like, what do you guys think? And the doc's like, don't worry, I'm a natural doctor. And you're like, natural? Did you go to college? No. I have a scalpel I ordered on Amazon.
I learned so fast.
No way, bro.
Yeah.
Does not exist. You sound like an idiot.
Go.
Yeah, hit me.
This is a should be a no-brainer, but you know, this is just the reality of things. Coming to class too high or too drunk. We all, again, this is super common in jiu-jitsu when guys are just like baked watching the instructor and everyone's like, all right, on 3, 1, 2, 3, and he doesn't clap his hands. He's like still watching. That's like a tall tale sign of like that guy came too high.
Oh man, I'd have dudes that I would literally call in class, and I'd just be like, "You're high as hell right now. Just please don't bother
I've had to kick people out for being drunk.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you doing? No, it's cool. No, it's not cool, man. This is a liability.
Yeah, I can tell you a story that is as old as time, but we used to have a noon jiu-jitsu class when I was still living in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to this noon jiu-jitsu class, and it was mostly like, it was a weird combination of competitors that did not have day jobs,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs that made their own schedules. You know, they had some flexibility, and people that still lived at home. I mean, it was just a weird combination of like, you'd have like a lawyer, like a really high-end lawyer, and like a competitive fighter, and then a guy that, you know, just got out of prison or something. Like, I mean, it was a weird combination. And these two girls showed up, which was really unique because this is like 2007, 2008. Like, there weren't a lot of girls doing jiu-jitsu anyway. And these two girls show up and they sign up and they start training, and they are just like really happy. These two girls are like happy. And every time they come to class, they are super happy. And then, you know, we take a break, but they've been training for like a month. And we take a break, and someone took a sip of their Gatorade and spit it out like violently, and was like, "This isn't Gatorade. I think this is vodka." And everyone's trying to look around to figure out like who brought essentially a full bottle of vodka with just enough like orange juice to make it look like lime Gatorade, basically. And we quickly discovered that those two girls had very quietly left and never came back.
That's awesome.
And we were like, well, that explains why they're so happy, I guess. They were just getting drunk at noon doing jujitsu.
I actually, that kind of triggered when I was young. One of my first coaches, not my boy Phil Collins, but another coach I had at a young age. You could smell the whiskey on him when he's teaching.
Oh, it's solid.
And you could tell like this is going to be one of those classes.
Solid.
I've also had jiu-jitsu coaches who were like too high, and they'd be like, this happened multiple times with one coach. Be like, all right, guys, take a lap. All right, inside shuffle, outside shuffle, and they fall asleep. And then you're just stuck like outside shuffling for 30 minutes. Like he didn't tell us to forward roll yet.
I had a buddy that was very excited about in the early 2000s. He got his blue belt in Miami, and he moved to California to train with a very famous jiu-jitsu guy. And I think he got his purple and his brown with this guy. But his biggest beef about training with this guy is that like this guy would come to class like 20 minutes late, high as hell.
Yeah. And
it was just like, it just ruined class sometimes. And he was really upset about it. And he had essentially moved to California to train.
To work with the guy.
The guy.
Yeah, don't meet your idols.
Oh, yeah, ain't that the truth, baby? Ain't that the truth? I one time went to the beach with my friends, and my plan was to go to the beach, hang out for a while, and then come home, take a shower, go to jiu-jitsu, like just a good day, you know. And I had a couple of drinks at the beach, and maybe I had a couple more than I thought I was going to have. And then I went and trained jiu-jitsu, and I was probably buzzed. Wasn't drunk, but I was probably buzzed because I definitely drove, which is stupid. But I did not enjoy it. Yeah. Every moment I was like, oh, I don't want to be here. This is terrible.
You know, I'm an American. I believe in freedom.
Freedom, baby.
And if you want to take part in recreational things such as alcohol and marijuana and such, that's on you, right? But you have to do it responsibly.
As long as you're over the age of 18.
Of course. Whatever the law 21, is where you live.
Yeah, follow the legal standards, please.
And I know it's like common in like Holland for these Dutch guys to drink and train.
Yeah.
The Thais are known to be chain smoking drinkers. I understand it, but again, do it responsibly. If you're gonna do it, make sure you're doing it with the intent to.
Have you ever been
be fun, not to be a drunk?
Have you ever been to any of these like tournaments or not necessarily tournaments, but like days where the certain gyms will be like everyone will smoke or something?
Yeah. I went to an event in South Miami one time. And that's what it was. It was a jiu-jitsu tournament, and then it was an open mat. And at the open mat, they just blew smoke everywhere.
Jesus.
So it doesn't matter where you're at.
Sound like a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're at. You're getting the effects.
I saw a gym one time that did a mushrooms night where it was like hallucinogenic mushrooms and rolling, and I was like, no way, dude. That sounds like a terrible liability.
Sounds like someone got pregnant.
Like, what are we talking about, dude? It's not good for me.
So around that, this is a peeve. I don't know if I'm doubling up, but
okay,
it's a quick one because I don't consider this like a hygiene issue. This is just like a smarts issue. people come into class with no underwear.
Oh yeah.
I used to have a student. I loved working with this guy, but it was like consistently he'd be wearing Muay Thai shorts, and we're doing MMA pad holding or MMA drilling, and within the first grappling exam, go put your pants. Where's your underwear?
Why am I seeing your balls,
Dude?
sir?
Like this is not what we're here for.
I've had on the other side of that, I've had young ladies that come to jiu-jitsu that, you know, would have probably done a lot better if they were wearing like sliders, like Nike Pro shorts or something, instead of wearing like more scandalous underwear, because then, like, you know, you're training and your gi starts to come down.
Oh,
and
sure.
It's like,
yeah. I mean,
this is not appropriate.
just wear the
training
right
here.
equipment.
Wear the right equipment.
Yeah,
dude. And that goes down to wearing something that you can have some form of modesty in and feel comfortable in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a pinch before. I understand.
Yeah.
The 1 or 2 times you might have to take a risk, but it should not be a consistency.
It's not a risk worth taking. If I see your balls during training, I'm probably not going to be happy about it.
I mean, imagine if a child or an adult or parent.
Yeah. I don't need to explain that.
That's
to
a lawsuit.
parent.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Okay, I got a couple more here. This one is poignant towards our industry for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody reached out to me and said, if you host tournaments or you have a school and your website sucks.
Nice.
And I felt a little attacked there. This is the thing about martial arts, right? It's really weird because we're an industry where technology is still not necessarily utilized to the best of its ability.
Not integrated, right?
Yeah, it's like, you know, you'll go to like Orange Theory Fitness or something, and they have like really good use of technology, and then you'll go to like a local jiu-jitsu tournament or something, and like you can't even get the website to work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that some of that is that money is that there's not a whole lot of money in martial arts in general, so it's kind of hard to. How would I say this? It's hard. You know, it costs money to make money sometimes, and a lot of times people are weary of spending money on stuff. You know,
Right.
And also, maybe the best martial artists are not known for their IT skills. Let's be honest.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm bad with it. You know, people, I will never demonstrate it online, but people make fun of the way I type on a computer. And there's just, you know, certain things that if you spend your whole life focusing on 1 or 2 aspects, you're obviously not developing skills in others.
My counterpoint to that also would be that a lot of times when you're a tournament or you're a company or you're a whatever, you're very hesitant to adopt new technology because this year we have changed the way we do for Point Muay Thai. We've updated our website, we updated everything, and there's a learning curve there, which means that we all have to learn more, right? But it also means that our students and the people that are our consumers have to adjust their practices as well. And that sometimes can be uncomfortable for people, you know, and like there are growing pains associated with that. So, you know, to the person that sent me that, I would just say, you know, I think they were talking about jiu-jitsu, so I'm not super worried about it. But, you know.
Oh, it's not the IKF Fight platform.
It's definitely not the IKF Fight platform.
That is the most user-friendly thing I've ever used.
It's gotten significantly better, and it gets better every day, sir.
I love it.
Johnny, if you're listening, we all love you, Johnny.
By
the way, Johnny in his 50s, he's still throwing elbows, throwing knees. He might be in his 60s. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he did tell me he stopped doing more traditional style kicks, which I agree with. You know, hook kicks and stuff, kind of torque your hip a little bit.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I've been cutting back on them.
It's a young man's game, my friend. It's a young man's game.
Are we winding down here?
I think we are. I think we're heading down. I got like maybe.
I think I hit you with 2.
I can give you. I can give you a couple here. Okay. I think that a lot of jiu-jitsu people wouldn't agree with me on this, but Masters Divisions 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is my pet peeve. So for people that don't do jiu-jitsu, there's typically a kids division. Then there's typically an adult division, which is under 30 essentially. But anybody that's an adult, anybody over the age of 18 can register for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have typically over 30. They go into what they call the Masters divisions. So you're a white belt, you're 32 years old, you might be Masters 1. You're a white belt and you're 36 years old, you might be like Masters 2, and then it goes, I think it goes up to Masters 6 or 7 or 8, right? It's like a 3 to 5 year bracket, basically. And what happens is you see a lot of people that register for like Masters 3 or Masters 4, but there's no one else registered in that division. And then instead of them just competing at adult, they either compete with someone that is a massively different weight than them, or they don't compete at all, which to me just seems kind of silly. Like, I get that this is a young man's game, and I just said that, but at the same time, it's like, if you want to have like a competitive and a non-competitive division, so if you want to have adults and then you want to have like masters, cool. But then further breaking it down to Masters 2, Masters 3, Masters 4, Masters 5 seems a little like a 40-year-old white belt and a 50-year-old white belt are probably not that far off in skill and technique and strength. You know what I'm saying? And Muay Thai, typically we have under 40, over, 18 or over, under 40 is adult. And then if you're over 40, you'll often see that some, not a lot, but some tournaments have like a Masters division over 40. But really what they mean by Masters is that you have to have an MRI and a CT scan. You have to have all these things to compete in full contact. Same thing with MMA. Typically MMA has adults, and that's basically it, If you are 55 years old and you want to fight, you're probably going to fight someone in their 20s. Like, that is the choice that you are deciding to make, Yeah,
it's a dangerous game.
That's your choice.
I really don't know why you're trying to fight past, 40, unless you're one of those high-level guys who have been in the game for a long time. And again, you're at the high level. So getting money in your 40s.
I guess.
But if you're like debuting at like 39 years old,
you're not going anywhere with it. But here's the thing, man. Maybe you don't care.
Right.
Okay. Let's say you just got into
and
Muay
that's
Thai.
Why, we got the Point Muay Thai for that, and we've had quite a few of the older guys sign up for that. But even then, it's what is your goal ultimately?
Is if you fight, does it? I mean, I think sometimes we assume that anyone that fights is obviously working towards something, but that's not true. Sometimes they just want the experience, and I think it's unfair to say that you can't have a debut in your 40s, but I mean, like, maybe it's like a one and a done.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going full contact. And at that age, I just been around long enough watching fights to not see that go well. Again, like you said, especially in MMA, guys have been paired up with like, it's that joke where, middle-aged dad goes into an MMA school for the first time and they just get ragged on by some 16-year-old who's been training his whole life.
Demoralized.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that it's tough. I know jiu-jitsu, they have more of a focus on tournaments and all of this other stuff, but I also feel like, I think that if you have an under 40 division and over 40 division, I get that, but I don't necessarily understand why you see a lot of people that are competing in Masters 3 or Masters 4 or Masters 5, and there's no one in their division, and there's one person in the division when they maybe could have competed in a division with 10 people or something. I don't know. All right, what do you have anything else for me?
I got eye pokes.
Ooh, it's a pet peeve, huh?
Yeah.
Not a fan of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is me personally. Someone brought it up as well, and they probably felt necessary because I do bring it up a lot when we work together. But I feel like there's a huge issue with eye pokes, and not just, in the UFC, right?
Okay.
We see eye pokes in MMA matches. I feel like at times it seems more habitual than other times.
Okay.
And I think one thing that could fix that would be harder warnings.
Sure.
Point deductions immediately.
Sure.
You start, and again, that's going to probably ruin some fight judging.
Sure.
But like, it's going to scare people now. What I think the true fix is in your training.
Okay.
Now, people blame the UFC gloves.
Gloves, right?
But I like to point to our favorite organization, ONE FC.
Okay.
ONE Championship. if you watch these small gloves Muay Thai fights, their gloves look almost identical to the UFC gloves. They're not much different. If they have a small curve, it's a small curve.
I haven't seen them. Yeah, I don't know.
They almost never have eye pokes, and it's because Thai guys are trained to do physical controls with their palms as opposed to panicking and blading their fingers out. Maybe they go to post, but they're posting with their fingers exposed.
This is one of the things about training is that there's a strong possibility, really, really strong possibility that I still do a lot of drills with my team where both partners have no gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I mean no gloves on. So like we're doing drills where we're not throwing super hard, but we are slipping and we are catching and parrying and we are, going into clinch and you're going through control without gloves on. And I mean no gloves. Your hands are not wrapped. Nothing.
Oh yeah, I love bare knuckle.
And I think that the benefit of that is it teaches you that like you like if I am in my guard, my hands are typically up, but my hands are relaxed, semi-relaxed, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm going into something and then I start to kind of monkey paw, I'm not doing like,
Right.
Pointing with my fingers out. But I think there's probably a lot of gyms where, they've never done striking without boxing gloves on. And then they get to like an MMA. A lot of guys MMA spar with big gloves and they do, takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
So they do like transitional sparring with big gloves on because most takedowns you can get away with big gloves on. And then they'll do, jiu-jitsu or ground and pound drills, sometimes with big gloves on.
Yeah.
They don't really do. I think a lot of gyms kind of don't really want to see a lot of sparring with small glove on because of injuries and other stuff like that. Maybe that's part of that. I mean,
but even then, with whether you're using small gloves or not, like you said, doing things with no gloves is super beneficial. It's how you're doing it. Obviously, with like things like jiu-jitsu and wrestling, guys are more accustomed to like certain grips and they can, but for some reason when it comes to stand up, everyone starts to
fingers
really
out.
Weird. One issue I have, this is a pet peeve. I didn't even write this down, but I'll give it myself right now. Am I in the lead?
How far behind am I?
You're probably in the lead. I think I forgot to give you points.
Daddy's here.
Is shadow boxing and not making fists.
Oh yeah.
Man, that shit.
Shadow boxing. You've posted about this before.
Oh my god, nothing should be more synonymous with punching than making a fist.
Shadow boxing with like your fingers pointed out.
Yeah, like you're throwing punches, but it's like you're making hand symbols.
you're
doing everything but aiming with your knuckles.
Yeah,
and that annoys me more than anything.
It's a poor training mistake.
It's a poor training mistake that probably leads to eye pokes.
Eye pokes.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Let me see if I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Someone said, overvaluating or over highlighting the quality of a tournament or a fight or whatever. There is a big difference between fighting in a local event versus a regional event, fighting in a world or national level event. Those are different things. There's different mentalities,
Yeah, we talked about it not that long ago about like WBC. Where do they fall for a Muay Thai fighter? What's more prestigious? Do you want to go to stadium? Whatever. And yeah, I tell my guys, especially those who are like making a career out of it, those organizations are great, whether it's Muay Thai, MMA, whatever the higher note, but really is where's your career gonna go? Yeah. Now, the majority of people want to go to the highest level of prestige, but it doesn't necessarily mean for that person the most money or the most whatever they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, there's people that probably are making a lot more money in bare knuckle,
right,
than what they were making in the UFC.
Yeah.
Right, and there's people out there talking about it. Not as prestigious for sure. I also
almost shameful.
I think that there's also something to be said about when you are an amateur, especially. You've got to learn how to fight at home, right? What happens when you sleep at home and fight in your town?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to learn how to fight when you're sleeping in a hotel, when you're not the favorite. You've got to learn how to fight when you have to fly on a plane. which is why I think there's value in competing in different organizations. There's value in competing in tournament style fighting. There's value in competing in single elimination fighting. There's all values in these things. But, you know, there is a big difference between winning your local, you know, a local MMA match is not going to be the same as winning a UFC title. Those are different things, you know, and you need to be honest. You know, like I can't tell you how many people I meet that are boxers that tell me that they won a Golden Gloves.
Right.
And then I'm like, you won a Golden Gloves, or you competed in a Golden Glove tournament for, you know, entry into a regional level event. Like, what are we talking about right now? Right? Because there's one Golden Glove every year. And I've met 5 this year, so I'm confused. I don't know. And I had one last one.
Yeah, go for it.
Which is, you know, asking, you know, someone said asking vague questions. Like if I'm teaching something and they're like, well, how do I finish this move? I mean, give me more specific details. Like, where are you stuck? What's the problem? Where are you having? You have to be the communicator sometimes, right?
Right.
But like, if you text me like I don't understand something, like give me a little bit more information, right? Like if you're dating a significant other and they text you, I'm angry, that's probably not what I need to hear. I need to hear why you're upset.
Yeah.
Right. Likewise, if you text me like, coach, I was doing that move and I can't finish it. What does that even mean? Like, are you not getting to the ground? They're not tapping. Do they say it's tight? Do they not say it's tight? Like, what are we talking about? You can't finish it.
Yeah. I actually had a guy ask, or say like lack of communication. And
sure.
When I asked like further what he meant, essentially the same thing is like, maybe the coach hasn't told the fighters that when you ask a question, I want you to be detailed. That way I can give you a detailed answer.
Yeah.
If that's not like part of the culture, then you're going to get that guy who's asking poor questions.
I think that too, it's like, unfortunately, is that we have cultural issues. So in our industry where there's not a great focus on like education necessarily. And you get people that come from other gyms that like they don't know how to communicate what they are trying to think of.
Yeah. One of my favorite, instances I've had was when I was training in Vegas. Again, you get people from all over the world, and generally speaking, it's like the best people from where they're from is moving there. So there's a lot of ego that's on the mat and stuff like that. And so communicating about sparring, and I do not want to spar with you, or can we spar lighter? You would often see matches get really heated. Yeah. But the goal was for guys to feel comfortable enough to say these things.
Yeah. This is very hard, right? Yeah. Because like you should always feel comfortable enough with your sparring partners. But this goes back to you should develop a relationship with your training partners that is probably 60, 70, 80, 90% training and 10% hard sparring, or 5% hard sparring. And if all you're ever doing is sparring, it's very hard for you to like, you know, say to someone like, hey, let's go a little bit lighter, or let's go this, or hey, can we work on this? So, you know, complicated. That is that's the pet peeves for the day. Who won here?
I think you're up by 1.
You think honestly. I won by 1?
Yeah, because we hit a couple both.
Ooh, well.
Here's my thing: is I'm not one to think I have good math. So
okay, all right.
I think in past episodes we have instances where
we've had there's been some debates where we've known that you're not a great.
So I will do a recount. Okay. Once this episode comes out,
or we could just when you're listening, if you're okay, if you're this was not intended, but we'll throw this out there. If you were listening at home, you can decide who you thought had the better pet peeves, and you can just write in the comments, Paul or Rich, or if you think we're even, you can put even, but obviously we know that I did a better job. So that was this week's episode of Combat Theory Presents Pet Peeves. We're still trying to get a guest. We've had some guests that definitely said yes, and then they had scheduling. So
we're learning the harsh trials of a podcast.
Thank you all to the people that commented. Obviously, guys, follow us on Instagram, social media. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Bye, Rich.
See you, Paul.